What if Kagaya Ubuyashiki is a bad guy? How would it have changed the course of the Demon Slayer story? Kagaya is known for his calm and gentle demeanor, and he is shown to genuinely care about the people around him. It's quite hard to think for someone like him to become evil. But let's hypothetically imagine that Kagaya is an evil person. A situation like this would be a major plot twist, and the story would have taken a completely different direction. Most likely, humanity would lose against the demons. Maybe an evil Kagaya becomes an ally of Muzan, or maybe he'd try to take control of the world himself, or he'd become so obsessed with his cure that he'd cross all the limits. Well, I found 3 interesting stories about how the story of the Demon Slayer would have progressed if Kagaya was a bad guy, so let's dive in. In the first theory, if Kagaya Ubuyashiki was a bad guy, Muzan would take a greater interest in him. Perhaps he would manipulate Kagaya to become his spy and tarnish the Demon Slayer core within. Muzan is undoubtedly the most cunning demon. His manipulation techniques are so powerful that they're hard to resist, unless you have a pure heart. Since in this alternative storyline, Kagaya Ubuyashiki is a bad human, he would most probably fall under Muzan's manipulation, and would ditch the Demon Slayer core by working as Muzan's spy. Muzan could lure Kagaya Ubuyashiki for more power, more control, or a never-ending life, which he would definitely like to have considering his deteriorating health conditions due to the curse. So we believe that Muzan would be able to manipulate Kagaya Ubuyashiki to join him. Kagaya Ubuyashiki, who outwardly appeared to be a staunch ally in humanity's fight against Muzan Kibutsuji, has secretly forged an alliance with Muzan. This would have been a significant advantage for Muzan to have someone inside the Demon Slayer core. On the other hand, the Demon Slayer core would have been in a much weaker position, as they would never doubt their leader until the very end. Kagaya, playing Muzan's spy within the Demon Slayer core, strategically sabotaging their efforts, would give Muzan an upper hand over the Demon Slayer core. With Muzan's backing, Kagaya could begin subtly sabotaging the Demon Slayers. For example, he could deliberately withhold crucial information and resources from missions, handicapping the Slayers, and also manipulating mission assignments, sending skilled warriors on fruitless tasks. In addition to obstruction, Kagaya could secretly funnel detailed insider knowledge to Muzan about breath styles, Slayer hideout locations, and the core's strategic weaknesses. This information would allow Muzan to target and assassinate pivotal Hashiras. This way, he could help Muzan to get rid of the most dangerous Hashiras. However, Kagaya's double dealing could only go on for so long before being exposed. Sharp observers like Tanjiro would eventually be able to piece together the pattern of sabotage, tracing it back to Kagaya. And once they found solid evidence against the evil Kagaya, it would be the end for him. Also, Muzan, who had been using Kagaya as a spy, would not even bother to help him, because that's who Muzan is. He would manipulate, use, and leave. At the time of death, Kagaya would definitely think that shaking hands with Muzan was the biggest mistake that he should have avoided. Well, that was not an end Muzan or evil Kagaya would have wanted. But that's only one of the 3 theories. In the second theory, Kagaya himself is a demon, and he's using the Demon Slayer core to eliminate his competition. Muzan and Kagaya Ubuyashiki are blood related, which is the foundation of this theory. The blood relation between these two leads to speculation that their bloodline may be cursed in some way. However, there's no direct evidence presented that their blood itself causes humans to transform into demons, while a connection can be drawn between the two characters based on their lineage. But let's hypothetically imagine that Kagaya Ubuyashiki was turned into a demon somehow, and then he becomes power greedy. So Kagaya is a demon himself, even though viewed by humans as an ally. Kagaya, in truth, is planning to dominate the world just like Muzan. He had managed to conceal his demonic energy and blend in among humans, biding his time. Kagaya's intentions are just like Muzan's, of ruling over humanity, but he plans to do it smartly, without rivals. He viewed Muzan and other powerful demons as threats to his planned supremacy. As per this theory, Kagaya is using the Demon Slayer core to annihilate all the demons that could challenge his supremacy, including Muzan. Kagaya's only goal is to kill powerful demons so that he can rule the world alone. Under the pretense of protecting humanity, Kagaya masterfully manipulated the core into targeting the uppermost ranks of demonkind. The core dutifully honored Kagaya's directives, gathering intel and assaulting demons prioritized by Kagaya himself. Top-rank adversaries like Kokushibo and Akaza were among the first slated for destruction. Kagaya particularly wanted the core to weaken and defeat Muzan, so he could claim sole dominion, which is his sole goal. To achieve that, he could cunningly bait Muzan into battles with the core's finest warriors, whittling away his strength. At the same time, Kagaya could withhold critical secrets that could have turned the tide against Muzan sooner, deliberately prolonging the difficult conflict to inflict maximum damage on both sides. Kagaya's endgame allows the core and Muzan's factions to exhaust themselves, battling each other. Once Muzan is no longer a threat, Kagaya plans to reveal his demonic nature and obliterate the weakened core himself. With his rivals gone, none would have the power to stop Kagaya from exerting control over humanity. The only way to stop Kagaya would be his premature death, which could prevent this sinister plot from reaching its its fruition. In the end, Kagaya Ubuyashiki exploited the Demon Slayer Corps as mere pawns, deceiving them into destroying fellow demons that hindered his own malevolent ambitions. A cunning villain hiding in plain sight. Well, this one was a far darker theory than the previous one. Let's move on toward our final theory. Life is beautiful and nobody wants to die. But if someone is under a curse that is making his or her body fragile and pushing them closer to death with every passing second, what will they do? If that person is compassionate, they would most likely accept it as their fate and leave it as per God's will. But if someone isn't that compassionate or is an evil person, they would go to any extent to keep themselves alive at whatever cost, even if it means hurting others. In this alternative storyline, we believe that Kagaya belongs to the second category of people, who is desperate to find a cure for himself. As per this theory, Kagaya is obsessed with finding a cure by any means necessary. This desperation drove him down a dark path, performing horrific experiments on captured demons, in hopes that their biology could save his life. After exhausting all conventional medical treatments, Kagaya turned to the mystical. He knew demons possessed extraordinary regenerative abilities, recovering from grievous wounds in moments. Believing this power could be the key to stopping his own body's deterioration, Kagaya began capturing and experimenting on demons. At a concealed facility, he subjected them to agonizing procedures, extracting their blood and tissue samples to analyze. Kagaya ruthlessly searched for the biological factor that granted demons their near immortality. To obtain more powerful demon test subjects, Kagaya manipulated the Corps into doing his bidding. He ordered them to capture high-level demons like the upper ranks alive for interrogation. But instead of information, Kagaya sought only their biology for his twisted experiments. When the Slayers would turn over captive demons, Kagaya diverted them secretly to his facility rather than the Corps prisons. There, they would undergo his painful experiments until they died. Their bodies burned to hide the evidence. The Slayers remained devoted to Kagaya, never knowing the true horrific fate of the demons they captured. As his health declined, Kagaya became increasingly desperate and bent on acquiring the upper-ranked demons. He knew their advanced power could be the key to perfecting his immortality serum. Kagaya began manipulating missions to specifically target the upper ranks, throwing distractions if needed to isolate them. Once captured, he subjected them to highly invasive procedures, draining their blood to synthesize a serum, extracting bone marrow samples, and harvesting organs to transplant. Though the upper-ranked demons regenerated quickly, the repeated experimentation inflicted excruciating pain. Despite the horrors committed, Kagaya remained unable to refine a working cure from their biology. Kagaya had descended down a monstrous path in his obsession to save himself, his cruelty and deception making him the very evil he claimed to fight. The demon slayers who admired him would be shattered to see the truth of his actions. Kagaya was willing to sacrifice countless lives in pursuit of his goal, tortured demons and loyal slayers alike. His pure desperation drove him to hideous moral compromises, rationalizing his experiments as for the greater good. But if ever discovered, his atrocities would turn his allies against him. Even if Kagaya's sinister research bore fruit, the terrible suffering inflicted would outweigh any ends, and he knew if his cure were found, he would quickly move to silence any who knew his secrets. Ultimately, Kagaya's obsession with survival at any cost led him to become the very thing he swore to destroy, a monster hiding behind a facade of nobility. This theory reflects how even respectable figures can descend into villainy when driven by desperation. Kagaya's all-consuming search for a cure destroyed lives on both sides, yet brought him no closer to salvation. Well, after seeing what a nuisance an evil Kagaya would have been, I'm really happy that he's a good guy. Which theory scared you the most? Do let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see any other interesting video about anime, you can click on this other cool video that appears on your screen. See you in the next video. Thanks and goodbye.